barrel program. I'm curious, how do you determine, I mean, I know you got to have a certain price point to stay in business and all of that. Is the real estate issue, in other words, this sat in a barrel for 8 months. Is there a certain way that you've learned to come up with how much you need to charge for a bottle based on how long it's sat in a barrel and taking up space in your warehouse?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good question. So, anything we do that's not barrel aged is typically going to be at a much lower price point than anything that is barrel aged or anything that has won an award. So there's a combination of the cost of goods sold factor, right? How much are you really spending to make this, right? So anything that costs more to just make, regardless of what happens during production or afterwards, you're going to have to charge more from in order to have a margin that makes sense to even make it, unless you have another reason for that. So I'll get into that one in a second. Now, when it comes to figuring out price points to mead, when I wrote my first business plan, I went and bought all the mead I could buy in Arizona, which 3 different meads. I think there was a Redstone and, like a Polish mead and a Chaucer's. And that was all I could get in Arizona 6 years ago from the stores.
I knew you were going to say Chaucer's.
Yeah, and of course, those are all different. And then I looked online and I thought, okay, what are different meaderies that, back then had anything for sale online or even advertised the pricing? What are they charging? And then I started traveling and figuring out, you have to assess the market, right? Okay, what are different things going for? So something that's spending a year or two in a barrel, that's not an inexpensive meat, especially if it tastes good. And it's, you look at the ABV and you start to figure out right away, of course, what sort of front end ingredients are going in to make something that's 14% or higher. That's going to be way different typically than something that's 6 or 7% as far as just the, cost of goods sold factor. And then you've got barrel aging. And then there is definitely, a demand, a popularity factor to certain things when you're determining pricing, but you have to be really, I think, in tune with the market to be accurate, to make, if you price something too high, it just won't sell. And we've definitely had things where, they didn't move as fast as we thought based on the price point. We maybe adjusted at a time. But you have to do a market analysis. You have to really honestly assess the quality of what you're making, and then you have to look at, how much time goes in. And certainly barrel aging is a huge factor in that. So yeah, we make a premium product and we sell it at a premium price point, and we only use the best ingredients we can get. And when I first started this business, I knew that it would be really small when we started. And when you compare anything we're doing with, a medium brewery, for example, we're still really, really small, right? And so I knew that we couldn't compete on price. We had to compete on quality, and we had to have margins that made sense to even go through it, right? And so I did all of that, the math I could figure out. We figured out our price based on how much it took and how long it took to make, and what our other expenses were. So you put all of that into the financial plan and your business plan, and you ultimately come up with, okay, we're going to have these different products, or that's what we did anyways. We knew that people are going to really be unfamiliar with what we're doing, right? Especially 6 years ago, and the market's changed a lot. And so we knew that even then we had to have what we call tiers, and different price points, different levels of our products. And so we started off with, I think, 3 or 4 different tiers right away. And now we've probably have 7 or 8 different tiers of our products. And so there's all different types of customers, and people buy mead for different reasons. There are people that drink mead, maybe a little bit every day. And then there's people that, it's only for a special occasion and they don't mind, kind of not for a high-end purchase, and everyone in between. And so you have to, I think, with an industry that we're in that is still pretty unknown, and even though we're growing really fast and things are improving, you have to have a lot to offer, from dry to semi-sweet to sweet, still sparkling, and across all the different price points and flavor profiles. And that's one reason through just a business standpoint, why we make so many different products. I'm personally motivated to do that, and that's what I love most, is making different stuff, pulling nails on barrels, and just, tracking the progress. That's what keeps me going every day. But I think as a business, doing mead, and even the breweries that I like to follow, the wineries, in some cases, are doing a lot of different stuff, especially on the beer side, right? And that's all of that thinking goes into it. So it's not random. It's definitely based on, our experience and understanding the market and all of those factors I went through on, how it contributes to the price point. And ultimately, the market's going to tell you if you're right or wrong.
Right. Cool.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's, I guess, spitballing on price points. So, yeah, that's, there's a lot to it, and we take it very seriously, and we have meetings all the time and get feedback from our folks that I have, we have some staff that are, well, I mean, I'm a beer geek at heart as well, and mead geek, and drinking lots of different things, like everyone on this phone call that's listening, I'm sure. And some of our staff are really talented and, sort of having the pulse of the market and understanding, what will be popular, what different price points things should be at, and we're taking all those factors into consideration. And we take that really seriously, and I think maybe some of our success is due to, those educated guesses that we've made years and the strategies we've implemented in, what we're going to make and what we're going to sell it for.
How many different people on your staff do you have that work together to create different recipes and do the final tweaking and that kind of stuff? Are you doing that still all by yourself, or do you have other talented people that are in cahoots with you?
We have 3 full-time and 1 part-time actual folks that are just making mead, right? And in all of the aspects of that. But we cross-train a lot of our staff. We have folks that primarily label that will also help us bottle. We have tasting room servers that will come out and label and bottle and, help us in the different aspects of production. I think that one thing that's really unique about Superstition, and Vicki may be able to attest to this, when you visit our tasting room, you're going to have an experience where you're going to learn so much if you just start talking to your server, because they're cross-trained in almost everything that we do. And I tell all of our staff, if anyone has an idea for a new something that they want to come up with, just let us know, and we're going to make it. So everyone has the ability to contribute to product development. The only thing I reserve is the final decision 100% on names of products. So that's my world. So I own that. And, anyway, sometimes, some names come up and hey, I've come up with some terrible names too, right? So I'm guilty of that as well. But that's the one thing that I'm like, okay, that's still Jeff's world, right? But no, I truly encourage everyone to come up with new stuff. And our peanut butter jelly climb, blueberry spaceship box, 2 of the most popular things that we've done. That was our mead makers coming up with that. So and there are things that they come up with sometimes and they're like, here, try this. And I'm like, that doesn't sound like something I would like. And I'm almost always wrong, and I like it. And so it's, I think, really cool when it comes to, that creative process, to have people that do like things different than you do. And let's say something's kind of dry, and I'm like, guys, if you sweeten it a little bit next time, then it'll really pop the, blueberry or whatever. And we go back and forth all the time on that, in usually a polite way. But I think that, the give and take, and at the same time, people have to be able to really express themselves and just do something that they want to make. And we have a lot of examples of our folks doing that at Superstition. So, these days, my role focuses on growing the company's distribution into new markets. So that would be, obviously that part of sales. So opening up markets, branding, I still do, almost a lot of our social media. We have a couple folks that are helping out with, tapped reviews and, the thumbs up or whatever, and, answering some messages and stuff. But I'm still doing all of our Instagram posts, Facebook posts, that sort of thing. And I love having that interaction and being that side of the company, because I think as an owner, it's kind of hard to replace that. And one day I won't be able to do that. But so far for all these years, I've really enjoyed that aspect as well. And I think that's communicating our message and our vision and what we're all about. And I'm still very much the one doing that. And at this point, I don't see that ending for a while. So I enjoy the heck out of it.
There's another question coming up on the chat. Do you do sulfating or do you cold crash? How do you stabilize your wine? And I'm going to add to that, how has that changed since you started as a smaller operation?
Yeah, we do all those things. So now that we have glycol, absolutely, we cold crash, we fry, we sulfate, and we filter. So that's how we handle stabilization. And we've tried, I guess it's changed because we've all those different processes besides the cold crashing part that we were unable to do until we had the equipment from the beginning. And that's how we do that.
Do you still have the beehives?
We have 6 hive boxes, but I don't think there's bees in there anymore. So the last time I checked, we had 2 out of the 6, and they were all doing so good all summer. And I need to take a lesson in beekeeping. So, we have a couple of folks that, gave us a little bit of information, enough to, to get started and to go check on them. And, every once in a while we'd be like, oh yeah, there's queen and the brood's happening and we're good. So I am not a bee expert by any stretch, but I can tell you that we've learned a lot about the finding ingredient of what we do, of course, honey, and I really look forward to learning more about that. So one of the issues we did have this summer was so bees love honey, and our guys would, now we get honey in 55-gallon drums, and we figured out right away that if you don't add some water to the bit of residue that's left that you don't pump out, the bees will get stuck and a lot of them will die in there. And then we started mixing water to every honey drum, setting it outside and kind of feeding the bees just, until we had our drums picked up. But the bees found their way inside the meadery as well. So I have a couple of requests from our staff to not beekeep at the production facility. So we're going to reconsider that this year, especially if we start a new building. So who knows who's going to be allergic out there on the construction crew. But we are definitely interested in we're never going to, we get, when we have beehives and we do a tour, people are like, oh, are you going to be able to use your own honey soon? And I'm like, no, that's 6 beehives, and anyways, so that's a whole nother, that's just one of the fun questions that we get sometimes. I can imagine how many beehives would you have to run, right, and manage to, supply a meadery, but anyway, so I have fun with that. But I do look forward to learning more, and, we've tried this on 3 occasions and have not been successful so far. But we've learned a lot, and I look forward to figuring things out.
There's somebody asking about your talk tonight. You're like, great, we can't attend the conference, so this will be wonderful. It's like, no. Well, no, the talk will be much more in-depth than what this is going to be. Jolie is asking, do you use whole fruit or juice?
All of the above. Frozen fruit, whole fruit, juice, concentrated juice. We freeze fruit with liquid nitrogen sometimes. I think that one of the things that has always been part of Superstition's approach is we don't dismiss production methods or different types of ingredients when it comes to creating new products. We sort of embrace everything, and we try and see what works for a given goal for a given product. And there's a time and a place for, different honeys and different types of juice or fruit. And we've made pie where we press the grapes, and peach mead where we froze it with liquid nitrogen. And, we buy apple cider from the only commercial cider press in the state of Arizona to make our ciders. We bring in apple juice for our cider now from Washington State because we can't buy near enough Arizona cider to make the cider that we're doing because Arizona is not the apple state. We've gone out and picked fruit. Citrus is a big thing in Arizona. So we have a lot of friends with citrus trees, and you can get a lot of oranges really quick in January, grapefruits and lemons. So actually going out and picking fruit. And then we have, it's like a potato thing called a rotato. It's meant to peel that. And so we can stick the, citrus on there and just zest the whole thing. And then you can freeze it and have that stand. We've used wild hops from a canyon I know and a secret spot not far from here. And hops are something that we have been using a lot in our meat, especially in conjunction with that Arizona citrus peel. So from the skin of fruit to whole fruit to fruit juice, we've used all those different sort of preparations. They all have a place in making mead and in, other craft beverages as well.
Okay, so now I'm waiting for Secret Canyon hopped peanut butter jelly crime.
Oh, that sounds good. I haven't even thought of